Hey everybody, Mr. Brooks here, and I'm going to go over the review for the study guide for the test for Foundations Unit 1 Geometry. So I'm going to open up this, and it looks like this. And this is actually last year's, so there's just ever so slight changes, I think. Let's see, I'm trying to zoom in here. All right, so there's actually less polynomials on it. You don't have to subtract polynomials. And you don't have to multiply polynomials either, if I remember correctly. But there's a lot of radicals, proportions, solve equations, perimeter, area. Those you do have to know. You should definitely know perimeter and area. You should definitely know combined like terms and multi-step equations. And so this is a sampling of the problems that are going to be on there. So for this one, this is multi-step equation using distributive property. So distribute this, and that's going to be 6x plus 5 is equal to 6x plus 21. And then this is what we talked about a lot about. You have problems where x is on both sides of the equation, and you have either one solution, many solutions, or no solution. So here I see I have the same number of x's on both sides. So if I were to keep going with this and minus 6x on both sides, then it would cancel on both. So I got cancel, 5 on one side, 21 on the other. And this would not be a true statement. It's not true. 5 is never equal to 21. And you can really stop right here and you can say this is no solution. Okay. And you should be able to explain why there's no solution. It's no solution because there's no value of x that you can put in there that would make the equation true. Okay, so next is the proportion. If you have two ratios set equal to each other, that's a proportion. And remember also proportions where you go from big to small or small to big. And so all proportions are solved the same. We're going to cross multiply and set it equal to each other and then solve. So I've got 10 times x plus 6 is equal to, that's 10 x plus 6 is equal to 5 times x minus 4. Okay, now the other thing you can know is you can see the pattern where you have a binomial. That'd be like x plus 6 is a binomial, bi meaning 2, like bicycle. If you have a binomial, you're going to use the distributive property. So you should know that for the test. Okay, so going through this with the distributive property, that's 10x plus 60 is equal to 5x minus 20. And now we're solving, it's just like number one. I'm going to subtract 5x both sides. And that's going to give me 5x plus 60 is equal to negative 20. And then I will just minus 60 both sides, cancel, and we'll have 5x is equal to negative 80. And then divide by 5. And negative 80 divided by 5 is going to be, I think it's negative 40. It's negative 16. Okay. All right. So the next set of problems right here, you should know how to solve quadratics using square roots and square roots using quadratics. And so this is squared, so I'm going to square root both sides. And that's going to cancel off these, and it's going to bring down what's on the inside. And then the square root of 16 is 4. Okay, that's really easy. Sometimes you'll have to simplify it, and you're going to get like your mixed radical. But it's not just 4. It's positive 4, and then also it's -4, right? There's two answers, okay? And you can organize this differently, but I'm going to organize it this way right now. I'm going to say it's +4 and it's -4. So I'm going to have two answers. And again, anytime you have this quadratic, you have two answers. And so I'm going to subtract by 4. So I'm going to -4, and that's going to be equal to 0. And that's going to be equal to -8. And then I'm going to divide by 5. So 0 divided by 5 is just 0. And -8 divided by 5 is just a fraction. You can put it as a decimal, but just leave it as a fraction, okay? You make it a mixed fraction if you want. You can say -1 and 3/5. But okay, so for the next one, number 4, this is our learning target: simplify radicals and add subtract radicals. So I break 24 down into two things, and then I'm going to try to break this down into two things, but it turns out 49 is already a perfect square, so it turns out that that's just 7. And 24 is 4 times 6, which is 2√6 plus 7, and that is going to be that. Okay, so you have to know that these are not like terms. If you take 2 times √6 plus 7, you can't add them together. So you just leave it as two parts. Okay, the last one. This is a rectangle. I should have told you it's a rectangle. I want you to know it's a rectangle. It's always geometric shapes. It's not. It's either going to. It's all going to be rectangles on the test. So if you know this is 3x, you know this is 3x. You know this is 10x plus 1. And sometimes it's helpful just to fill in the picture right away. Okay. So that's plus 1. All right. If the perimeter is 132, what is x? Okay, so I know the perimeter is 132. And I also know that I can find the perimeter by adding up all the sides. So if I add up all the sides, it's going to be equal to the perimeter. So you got 10x, 10x, 3x, 3x. That's a total of 26x. And plus 2. Okay, and that's my equation right there, and I can solve that. So -2, -2, and that's 130. I'm going to bring it over here. 130 is equal to 26x. And divide by 26, divide by 26, and x is equal to, what is 130 divided by 26? It's 5. Yeah, always have your calculator for the test, right? And I apologize for the sloppy penmanship. This is so hard. Okay, so that's check. And then part B says, what is P in terms of x? What is P in terms of x? This is P in terms of x right here, 26x plus 2. You should know that you can write the perimeter of anything in terms of x. Like just put it as in terms of x. You're going to have an x, and you're going to have constants, and you can't add them together. So 26x plus 2 is not 28x, right? So that's check. And then what is the area in terms of x? This is not on the test. So these two are on the test, and these two are not on the test. I'm just realizing this. But I think it's worth putting down here because it's really good practice for algebra. And you need to, remember what you're doing from last year. So I'm going to do it, but it's not on the test. So what's the area in terms of x? To find that, you multiply. So you're going to multiply 3x times 10x plus 1. And by the way, I think that I'm going to try for this to be the last time that the study guide does not exactly follow the test. But these things happen. So 3x times 10x is 30x squared. Remember, when you multiply x's, x times x is x squared. And then 3x times 1 is just 3x. And combine like term says you cannot combine these two. They are different, so that is the area. And if x equals 2, what is the area? So this would be 3 times 2, which would be 6. And this would be 10 times 2. I'm plugging in 2 into x plus 1, which would be 20 plus 1. And so you would have 21 as the area. And so the area is 6 times 21. And that is equal to 126. So 126 would be the area. 126 would be the area if x were 2. Okay. That's it. That's the study guide. And so let me know if you have any questions. And everything is on the test except for C and D. And so the multiplying polynomials is not there for you. Okay. All right. Have a good day.